Welcome to episode 6 of the Viking Voices podcast. I'm Jaden Babick, joined here with women's basketball and softball's Ashlyn Diemert. Ashlyn, thank you for being on the podcast this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Before we start, well, actually we have started, but to start, let's just have you kind of go over, lower this just a tad. Let's just have you go over kind of your background, where you're from, and what you do on campus.
Yeah, so I'm from West Fargo, graduated there, and then I came here in my fourth school year here at Valley. My major is sports leadership, where I play basketball and softball, like you said, and just kind of that's about it. Really, just play sports and go to school. So.
Well, we do know you play the sports because you're all year round. You're playing both sports, and we're gonna get to that in a little bit.
Yep.
Sports leadership. What does that sort of entail? What kind of job do you kind of hope to get with that?
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I kind of want to be a coach, athletic director kind of thing with that. It's new here at Valley. Not many people are in it yet. We're just kind of getting it started. But a lot of different leadership classes. You can also do the sports marketing and some leadership classes with it. But yeah, I mean, I like it. It's really fun. I mean, like I said, you can use it to be a coach instead of going the education route, because that's what a lot of people have to do is go education and then into some sort of coaching.
Right.
So it's just kind of a different lens of it than the education route.
Interesting. So what kind of sort of classes are you taking for that? Is it heavy sports? Is it heavy kind of the behind the scenes of the sports, or is it very applied, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's a little bit of everything. Right now, I'm in a sports management class, how to build a facility. So it's not just technically coaching. You can use it to be an athletic director or run a facility or things like that within the sports aspect of it. I've taken sports government. So then you dig into the different laws of sports, which I thought was really cool. You don't really know all the laws of what you have to follow within a coach or an athletic director. So just kind of different things like that, kind of the behind the scenes, like you said, things that you don't think about. And those are very interesting to learn about, because as a coach, you just think you're coaching your kid or your players. You're not, but there's so much more to it and I think these classes show, and different leadership things you can learn through it. So. Yeah,
I think especially at the university level, it's highlighted because you have sort of the budget to look at. You have recruiting, all that.
Yeah.
Was it sort of your love for sports that kind of drove you to this degree, or was it something else?
Yeah. So when I first got here, I went education, because I was I do enjoy kids and teaching them, and I was going to be a PE teacher, so it's still sports in a sense, you know. And then sports leadership came, and they were this is just a route to take, so you don't have to take the education courses. It's all just different sports, what we said, budgeting, recruiting, that kind of stuff. And to me, that was just more interesting than having to take the education classes and then using it to go right into a graduate program or vice versa, whatever I wanted to use for it. I could do that and not have to take the education part of it. You know?
Yeah, just a bit more relevant to what you kind of want to.
Yeah, and what I enjoy.
Right.
So.
And so you're thinking, so originally it was PE teacher.
Yep.
Now is it more so university level coaching, or?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I feel like I would like that better, because I think the recruiting part's very interesting. Mm-hmm. And not having to, at the high school level, you might have to teach or you might have to do something, and I think that would, not having to do that and just being able to focus on the program, the university, and making the program better for the university. And like I said, the recruiting part is very interesting to me, and I think that's kind of what stands out to me about the college level. So
yeah, and that's interesting too, because I think to even just some of the coaches here on mm-hmm. campus and the different strategies you think for different sports mm-hmm. recruiting. I know we have all across the board, Canadians. Yep. There's foreign students. Where's our kicker from? Madrid, right? Yep. Madrid, Spain. How does that even
mm-hmm.
happen? The recruiting is so interesting, and it's interesting to see different strategies, different mm-hmm. coaches attacking it differently. So now before coaching, obviously now you're playing sports. Mm-hmm. You're playing two sports, and right now you're in basketball season. The team has started 6-3. Yep. Lost a barn burner to Bemidji State this weekend, mm-hmm. but that's a D2 team. How do you feel going up toe to toe against them and coming out 3 points shy, really, of beating a D2 team?
I mean, it shows we can compete at that level. I mean, it's really cool for us because this is the closest I've been to beating a D2 team since I've been here. And so kind of just shows that we could be a great team and we can be a great team. So, I mean, we just got to kind of clean up the little things and figure out how to close and execute games. And, I mean, that will come. That was our 5th, 6th game of the year. You know, like it's still early. So I think it's a good learning experience for us. And now it shows that we can compete with anybody technically in our conference because they're not, I mean, they compete with D2 levels too, but like, I mean, I think if we pulled off that one, I mean, I think we could have won it, like I said, but you know, it kind of sucks that we didn't, but I mean, it shows we're right there, and now we just have to execute, and which isn't a bad thing to have to learn.
No, definitely not. And you know, I was on the air doing the men's game. They played Dakota Wesleyan.
Yep.
I kept calling them Dakota State, but they were playing Dakota Wesleyan, and I looked the score to do the report on it to just update on the radio, and I was like, they held them pretty close. And I know in past years, Bemidji State, you guys have gone to Bemidji, and it hasn't been that close. So backpacking kind of off that, 6-3 so far in all games. It's a younger team this year, from what I understand. How do you like your team going into the conference this year?
Like you said, we are young, and so I don't think that's a bad thing. And I think our experience, like our returners, we know what it takes to win games, and so I think that is going to help us along the way. And I'm just excited to see where we can go because, I mean, we have high expectations. We have high standards for this group, and just taking it one game at a time and learning from every game. And I'm excited to see where we could go. I mean, I think we could go far. Just got to put it all together, and young group is not a bad thing. I mean, they're just out there playing. They're just playing, and I think that's a good thing too. And then us returners know what it takes, like I said. So I'm excited, really 100%. Excited.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting dynamic when you think young team because it's a lot of people that don't have, you know, some of the, okay, well, we lost to this team the past years. We lost. It's a fresh start for them, so they just think they can go, you know, kind of beat anyone, be cocky, be confident. And so that's, you know, like you said, not a bad thing in any sport.
No.
So let me go see here. I sent you the plan beforehand, and so I made it a lot more detailed. And that's kind of helping me right now because now I have so many more questions I can ask you. So you're a dual sport athlete.
Yep.
Obviously, we dove into the basketball first because it's basketball season. Yep. Basketball season's first. But in the fall, you start with softball. So my question, which I'm leading up to here, were you recruited for both at the same time? Was it one first, then the other? Kind of take us through how that works because I was never – I was baseball. No one else wanted me. No talent. So
so it was originally was all basketball. I was getting recruited. Like I also had no intentions of playing two sports coming into any of this.
Okay.
Because I was like, that seems like a lot. Like I don't know if I could handle that. I don't know. So I originally just kind of was all basketball for a while and emailing some softball schools. But like a week before I was coming to Valley, I get a call from the softball program and they're like, hey, what do you, like, just kind of talk to me about the program. And I was like, I'm actually coming up there in a week if you want to talk. And so then they're like, yeah, I talked to the basketball coaches. And they're like, sure. So then met with both basketball and softball. And then kind of after that, I was like, I think I could do this. I think I can make it work. Definitely didn't think I was going to. But, like I said, I don't know. Just not having to give up one was, after high school, was something that really intrigued me because you can play it longer.
Yeah.
You know, so
year round, and that's really cool. And yeah, obviously something that I could not do. I know I think I told this to Corey, you know, I've heard of the football, baseball, but then eventually you kind of transition to one because that's a very different dynamic. That's a couple sports that take a toll. So obviously, so basketball first, and I've known you a while, and actually I've never heard that. I've never heard that story from you, so that's interesting. I thought it would be kind of both, but
no.
So you get in freshman year. So obviously you make that transition every year from softball in the fall, basketball, then basketball to softball. So freshman year, coming into the fall, starting with softball, how does that? So talk me through that first fall.
Yeah.
And then I want you to kind of tell me about that transition from, okay, I'm playing soccer, and now right into basketball season, because you don't have a lot of time to prepare if you're doing both.
Yeah. The fall's a grind. Like, because it's mainly softball focused, but I'm also still doing basketball stuff. So, like, I'll be team practice in the fall, but then for basketball, I'm doing little things like agility, conditioning, shooting, scrimmaging on top of full team softball practice. And so it gets to be a lot. And then as soon as softball's over, you jump right into basically full team basketball practice. And so kind of just you have to like balance. It's just balancing the two, obviously. But it's crazy. The fall gets to be crazy. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm doing like in the next hour. But so it's a mainly softball-focused fall with basketball. And then as soon as the fall is over, you jump right into basketball, obviously up until end of January, February kind of a thing. And then kind of depending on when we end is how much time I have to prepare for softball in the spring. So the past couple of years, I've had 1 or 2 days to prepare before we get to go to Arizona. Or my freshman year, I had like a week before we went to Arizona, so that was really nice.
Right.
Freshman year, kind of don't have to jump right into it.
Yeah.
But then the past 2 years, it's been like 4 or 5 days, and then down I go to Arizona and playing 8 to 10 games.
That's not a bad transition.
No.
Come on, from the cold right to Arizona. Yeah, that's really interesting. So do you think the transition in the fall is easier or in the spring?
I would say in the fall, just because I'm playing both sports and then I jump right into basketball. And then I don't touch a softball until February, March. Usually like middle of February I try and go in, but like it's not the same as getting live at bats. Can't really do that right now.
Big time.
So I mean, yeah, you know what that feels like. Live at bats to just like front toss is completely different.
Yes.
So it's definitely a big adjustment. And like for me, like or for them, dome games is like their preseason, and when we get into Arizona, they're ready to go and compete against these teams. And for me, it's like, wow, like I haven't even seen a softball come at me for 6 months.
Yeah.
So and it's against ranked teams or receiving votes teams. So it's hard, but it's fun. So.
Yeah. No, I can definitely, that's the one thing. At bats, when you don't get an at bat against velocity for a while, and you see that first pitch and it gets by you, you're like, So I could definitely see how that's a tough transition. And I used to be a hockey baseball growing up. Again, I quit because no talent. Hockey baseball. I remember the first few days at tryouts. It's like, okay, this is very different. But this kind of leads me to my next question. Does playing both sports kind of improve your softball? What did I just ask? Does playing both sports improve your skill set?
Yeah.
In your other sport?
I would say so. Especially so like I'm a shortstop in softball, and that's a lot of like lateral movements. And you think of basketball, you're moving laterally just as much. You're playing defense, and it's mainly like your first few steps that you kind of have to work on when you're playing those two sports. And so I think it helped with my first step. So when you're playing shortstop, like as soon as you see the ball, you react, and your first step is there. And same thing on defense, you have to react to wherever the defender is going. You don't have much time, and so I think lateral movements helps a lot because, I mean, both sports you move laterally. How much, you know? And I think that's one of the main things is like your footwork. Both sports take a lot of good footwork, and I mean, too, playing shortstop, it's a lot of footwork, and then in basketball too, like shooting and all that kind of stuff, you have to have good footwork, so you feel comfortable, and so I think those two definitely play hand in hand in the two sports. Definitely,
and that's a lot of people, especially growing up. I don't know if you know Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
I
think I've heard you say him a couple of times.
One of my favorite athletes, and he was a hockey lacrosse guy, and he always used to say kind of the same thing. It's like, don't focus on a sport when you're young, when you can be athletic in a bunch. So that's kind of, but it's interesting that you kind of carried it over into college. And I know if I was playing two sports, I don't know what I'd be doing, because I don't have that. I feel like if I went into an at bat after not seeing it, wouldn't be good.
No, it's not fun sometimes.
So let's see here. So we're kind of talking about both right now. Let's go into a bit more softball. No, let's not do that. Let's go back to basketball because I missed one of one of my big points, and this is a congratulations to you. You recently passed 1,000 points.
Thank you. Yeah.
In your career. It was against Providence College. Run me kind of through that. Obviously, your entire team came on to celebrate after the timeout. How was that? How was that experience for you?
Honestly, an experience. Didn't really think I'd ever honestly get there. Just knowing like myself, and I was like, if it happens, it happens, kind of a thing. And it was just really fun to be there with my teammates. And that was one thing that I didn't tell many people that I was close to. I mean, I don't tell a lot of people those things. And so everyone had no idea what was going on until they saw my family holding up the 1,000th point stuff. And so that was just really fun to celebrate it with them and just like have that support from them, because I mean, a lot of it comes from them. Like they're giving me the ball to shoot and then giving them assists. So it's not just me that gets that. So I feel like it's a whole team thing that gets to experience that. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, that was a cool achievement. I know I wasn't in the building for that due to something that had happened, but no, we watched it live. But it was awesome to see. And so let's go to softball. After I'm pretty sure all my basketball is done here. So softball, let's open up with an easy one. Obviously, you haven't been with the team a whole lot. You were then with them in the fall. What are expectations like for that team? How do you like your chances in the conference with that team this year?
Same thing. We always have high expectations. I mean, our softball program's been good for a lot of years, and a lot of people know that. And since I've been here, we've won 2 conference tournaments, and so I think that's an expectation that we already have right out of the gates, is that we can win a conference championship. I would say, I mean, my whole senior class, and we have a 5th year that knows what it takes to do that, and so I think just getting all like the younger the freshmen and the sophomores to buy into that, because it's a grind too to get there, and you play a lot of games in a short amount of time, and so I think it's just getting them to realize that like the buy-in is important, and putting in the extra work or just the work at practice will pay off in the end. And I mean, we've proved it in the past that putting all these extra hours in, you can win a conference championship. And so I think it's just, and I'm really excited with this group too. We have a lot of talent, a lot of younger talent, and I think we'll see that within our freshmen right away, right out of the gates. I mean, you could see it in the fall. We had a lot of freshmen and stuff playing, lots of innings for us. And then we have a good returning class, a lot of all-conference and all that kind of stuff players. So we have a lot of talent. Now it's just putting it all together and see where it can take us.
Big time. Well, you talked about those 2 conference championships. Actually, last year, because now, I don't know if this was freshman year, but now, obviously, baseball, softball, same weekend in Dickinson, conference tournament. We ended up coming to your guys' game against Dickinson State, which was a barn burner. I know you probably don't want to remember that one, but that place was packed. It was a good softball game. Obviously, unfortunate ending, but we talked about the 2 conference championships. You've been to 2 opening round sites. The second one's going to evade me, but I know the first one was in Alabama.
Yep.
Yes, I knew the second one is evading me. I want to say Kansas.
It was Kansas.
Oh my gosh. I didn't look that up beforehand, I promise. So talk about, first of all, Kansas. Obviously, you were just there with the basketball team. Been to Kansas too. Alabama, though. How was that for an experience? That was your freshman year too.
Yep.
So you're going to Alabama because you just won the conference.
Yep.
Take us through that experience.
Yeah, that was a crazy experience. So we went to Gulf Shores, Alabama. And so it's...
I'm going to look where that is on the map.
It's right on the beach, and it's not like your normal... Like, when you think of Alabama, like, not what you think of.
Right.
It's, like, beautiful beach, and...
So, yeah. Wow.
Not what you think.
No.
Yep. And so... Yeah, and so the funny thing about that whole Alabama trip, though, is we were on our way down there, and we had to drive. I don't remember where we flew into, but we had to drive in vans, and we ended up getting a flat tire in our vans.
Oh.
So that was just kind of a cherry on top for our trip. But so we had to wait for our van tire to get fixed. It was crazy. Granted, not really. I know we're not really part of the point there, but and then we got to Alabama, and we played 2-3 games, something like that. I'm pretty sure it's double a limb, but think of Alabama too. It's sticky weather.
Yes. Oh, gosh.
Oh, it was brutal. Our trainer was there, Danica, and she's walking around putting water down your backs.
Yep.
It's brutal. It's not like it's just sticky and
Yes.
gross, and you don't even want to be outside. And so that was really fun. Got to play really good teams there and compete with them. And I think we could have probably won a few games down there too, but obviously, you know how it goes. Sometimes
Right.
it just doesn't go
It's
your
the best,
way.
the best
and
for sure. Yeah.
and softball and baseball is sometimes luck, and so I mean, it's just didn't get the wins, but you know, it was a really fun experience, and you get to play good teams, so
Yes.
that's fun at the end of the day. So.
Yes. Yeah, I would. I'd love to experience one of those. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously a North Dakota team going down to Alabama, because that's the
Yeah.
thing. I feel like you're so used to your own. I mean, I'm playing in long sleeves.
Yep.
Sometimes, you know, I got a mask on. Like,
Yep.
you shield yourself from the wind, but like that kind of weather, and that's not, you know, early March, Alabama. That's mid-May,
Yep.
getting to late May.
Yep.
Because when we go down to Florida, it's obviously quite nice, you know, 70, 75, but it's not the heat that,
Yeah.
you know, Gulf
The
Shores in
sticky
May.
humidity. Yeah.
So how south is that? Like, is that down?
I think so.
Okay, I'm just gonna look at it on a map again because I'm very, very curious.
Yeah.
But so that's wait, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's that's down there.
Yeah.
So freshman year, go to Gulf Shores. I'm gonna pivot back to basketball for a
It's
second.
all right.
Sophomore year, you go to Hawaii.
Yep.
So you've been to some interesting places for
Yep.
sure. And then obviously you go to Arizona every year
Mm-hmm.
with the softball team. So college sports has kind of
Yeah.
brought you all over the
Oh yeah.
map.
Went to Montana last year.
That's
For
right.
basketball. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
been
it's-
all over.
Yeah, it definitely, especially playing both. I
Yeah.
feel like there's tournaments in different spots.
Mhm.
That's quite cool. So sophomore year, you win it again in Dickinson, because that was when
Yes, in
right.
Dickinson.
Because I remember, I don't know where your conference tournament was freshman year, but ours.
Watertown.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right, because it was the big. Okay.
Yep.
Because I remember we went to Waldorf, and I was like, that, I barely
That's
remember.
right.
I know
Yeah.
that's, but I like the Dickinson.
Yeah.
Like it's synchronized one
Yes.
weekend.
Nice fields.
Yes, big time.
Yeah.
They just got the new turf softball field,
Yep.
and then they obviously have the Northwoods team, the Big Sticks.
Okay.
That they
Yep.
had the nice turf field.
Yep.
But the hotels fill up, that's for sure. You see like 6 charters from different schools.
Right. Just full of every team.
Yeah. So staying with softball. So let's go to sophomore year. You win it again. So you obviously, one of the cooler experiences is watching the selection show. So do you ever see a region pop up where you're like, it's south and nice, and you're like, oh, please be us, please.
Oh
okay.
yeah. Oh yeah. We thought last year we were gonna go to somewhere cool like Oregon or something like that, and then we're like, or I don't even remember what the other place was. All I'm telling you is Kansas was not in the picture.
Right.
We're like, oh, maybe we'll go back to Alabama. Places like fun, like interesting places
Yeah.
like that, and then all of a sudden the Kansas region pops up and Valley City State, and we're like, all right,
Yeah.
we're going to Baldwin City, Kansas, smaller than Valley City.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah, but it's still like it's so cool. You almost roll the dice
it's
on
still
it.
such a fun feeling
Oh,
too,
big
just
time.
to see your name, your school pop up there, and get to go compete somewhere else that's not around here.
That's
so.
right. Yeah, somewhere you wouldn't ever be
No.
competing
No.
around here, that's for sure. And especially with our conference getting smaller this year,
Yeah.
the region is you're gonna go to a few places, and that's about
Yep.
it. And so, and then you guys do the Arizona for the 4th year in a well, you guys are still going to Arizona
Yep.
with softball. Okay,
Yep.
yeah. Obviously,
Yep.
we used to go the week after, but now we go to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
things are always changing in the
Yeah.
conference, and the conference realignment's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that though.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, you know, with all the teams in the region. I've obviously heard a lot of things doing radio as to where everything's going to
Oh,
go,
yeah.
but you never know what's going to
No.
stick. So we talked about softball. Let's get into a few hobbies of yours. What do you enjoy doing that's not sports when you find some free time?
Yeah. I would say around Valley, a lot of the like on-campus activities I would say that like our team goes to, especially like bingo is a big one for our team.
Yeah, well, I've joined your team.
Yeah,
once
you know what I
before.
mean by that. Yeah. I would say things like casino night, that kind of stuff. Like on like campus activities are really big for. I mean, it's easy for us to go to because they're at night. You know, as an athlete, you can't do a lot during the day.
That's right.
And so I find those just like time to take your mind off of sports and you just have a good time with your teammates. But honestly, don't really do much besides sports, I guess. I
Right.
mean, in the summer, I like to wake surf.
Okay.
So that's a big one of mine in the summer, to just also kind of take my mind off of other things and
Right.
just enjoy the summer. But yeah, right now it's a lot of just hanging out with teammates and enjoying company and doing little things like game nights and that kind of stuff. So
For sure.
yeah.
Well, and especially in the winter, these winters can get long, as you know. Obviously, you being basketball probably helps them go by a little quicker,
yeah.
but definitely lean on your teammates to fill some of that time. And I actually realized that I did forget a softball question, so I'm gonna go back to it. Dome games. I've never played indoors as a baseball player.
Yep.
I would love to kind of know. Well, okay, I lied. We played at U.S. Bank my freshman year, but that's very different than an actual dome. What is that kind of? Does it feel like a real game? Like, how does it? Kind of.
Yeah.
I'd love to just hear your thoughts on it.
It's really weird.
Yes.
It really is. And my first ever dome game was my sophomore year of college. And I've never played in a dome, which is weird because most North Dakota softball players play in domes
That's right.
year-round. But I obviously was in basketball, so I've never played in a dome.
Okay.
And it was weather issues, so we got to go play in a dome. And it was just the weirdest because a fly ball gets hit straight up in the air and it hits the dome, you can still catch it. If it's in
Can you really?
Yeah, if it's in like fair
Holy.
territory and like hits off the dome and you catch it, it's still an out. But if it hits the dome and drops on the floor on the ground, it's a dead ball and they get to hit again. Like keep going.
That's weird.
So yeah, I don't like that. It's weird. It's so weird. And I just remember the first time I was in a dome, it was a fly ball was hit and I dropped steps like it would be outside and it landed where I was started. And I was like, yeah, I don't like this. I don't think, but it's weird. Definitely way different than
I would imagine
playing outside, obviously. And it's just I don't really like it, but I mean they go down there. I mean it allows you to play, but
Right.
it's just a way different feel. Everything is different. And, but I mean it's interesting.
Do you see it well when you hit too, or not really?
Yes, it depends on the lighting of
Okay.
in there. The one we were in was not. It was kind of dark. I will say, like the lighting was kind of dark and it was
Right.
really weird. But it is definitely different than obviously your natural light from the sun or whatever. But yeah, I didn't like it. It's different, and I would be fine not playing in a dome again because it's not the same.
Well, I can definitely understand because we obviously do the live at bats in Gratian. I know you guys do too. And just seeing the ball in there is very different. And I kind of attributed a dome to like, okay, that's like the Gratian kind of darkness lighting.
Yep.
And it almost feels like cheating when you go outside after you've been hitting inside for so long because you see the ball so much better. So, but yeah, I know like in baseball, you never play inside.
And you can't really.
No, because there's nothing big enough. And like we used to do the U.S. Bank, obviously don't anymore. I think there still is a tournament host there, but like that's as close as you can kind of get to hit like playing inside.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to go to Tropicana Field or anything in Tampa Bay or Globe Life. But no, I wanted to ask you about that because it's something I'll never, like a true dome is something I'll never experience. So
yeah, it's interesting.
that's definitely interesting. I'm glad I got to ask that. So we went through the hobbies. I have a few fun questions for you. I'm going to add one too because obviously you're a sports person, so I'm going to add one. Let's start with one that I have on the sheet. Dinner with one person, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
That's a good question. Honestly, it's probably going to shock some people, but I would say Kelly Clarkson.
Okay.
And I don't know that's going to shock you because you probably never really...
I've heard the name. I know singer, right?
Yep,
okay.
singer. I don't know. I watch, so she has a show, the Kelly Clarkson Show, and I watch it, or like on TikTok, I guess I can't say. I watch the show.
Okay.
I watch clips on TikTok, and I'm like, I just feel like I could have good conversation with her, and like I want to be her friend, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And I just love her music, and I mean, a lot of people know that I have a weird obsession with her in a sense. She's just, I don't know. I just really like listening to her, and it's just fun.
Hey, well, it's your dinner.
I know.
So
it's gonna shock a lot of people.
I did not expect that. I didn't even know I didn't even know you were a big Kelly Clarkson. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Hey, as long as you're
I think it'd be a blast.
yeah. That's funny. So backpacking off it, favorite restaurant in Valley City.
Ooh. Well, I would probably originally say City Lights, but it closed.
Okay.
So I probably have to go Budget Burger.
Okay.
Because I really love their cherry Coke.
Okay. That's the first unique answer we've had on the podcast. It's been across the board when I've asked that question, the new taco place. Budget Burger, though, very good. And, their ice cream milkshake.
All of it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff for sure. I think it was kind of, you and Katie that kind of put me onto it again. Because originally I didn't like it.
Oh.
And so I was just like, I'll try it again. And I don't mind it.
Yeah, we go there quite a few times.
Yes. Yeah, no, their milkshakes are quite good.
Yep.
Is that where you're taking Kelly Clarkson, do you think? Or probably?
Ooh. I mean, we could. I could get her on the ice cream. And
True, that's right.
Their burgers and stuff. I mean, honestly, might have to bring her to Valley City, North Dakota.
Hey, that would be insane. I don't know if, I don't know. Well, no, you live in Fargo, so you would have known what Valley City is. Until I got recruited here, did not know what this place was.
Yeah, so many people say that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
it's
45 minutes away from
that's
it.
right. So you would know it better.
Yeah.
Did you ever play high school sports in Valley City or not? Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we are in our conference. Valley was in like our high school
I
conference.
suppose.
So we came here. I came here every year.
Bad question.
Yeah, been in this city for a while.
I guess,
so.
yeah. Your favorite season, like not softball, basketball, like favorite season and why?
I'll have to go with the summer.
Yeah.
Like I said.
It's an easy one.
Yeah. The weather, first of all, it's not cold. It's hot, and I'd take that all day. And I talked about it earlier. Wake surfing is one of my favorite things to do in the summer. So I get to do that every weekend. So that's one of the things. And I mean, you can't go wrong in summer, so you can literally do whatever you want. So, and just kind of enjoy it. So. Yeah,
no, I would say summer too. That's a good answer. I don't like people that say winter. It's like what? Like I get the snow maybe, but come on now, it's too cold. That's what I mean. I just I don't want to have to put a jacket on. I just it's, and then I'll add the one because obviously you're a lot of sports. Favorite athlete and why?
Oh.
It could be former, current, whichever.
My favorite athlete, I would say right now, would probably be Jason Tatum.
I knew it too. I knew it. Oh.
Yep. I mean, I watch probably every single game he plays right now. Follow him all the time, and the Boston Celtics, big Boston Celtics fan.
Okay.
So, yeah, and Jason Tatum went to Duke. That's my favorite college team. So.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
All right. I was gonna say I honestly expected that, because basketball and that's a good one, and they just won the whole thing last year, right? Yeah, I was gonna say
that was fun.
Yeah, I bet.
Yep.
Yeah, I wish one of my teams.
I was gonna say kind of like
the
Oilers being in it, but
just one goal short, but we'll be back hopefully. Didn't ever think I'd talk about the Oilers on the podcast, but here we are. So just kind of wrapping it up here. Obviously, you've been on this campus, like me, for 3 years and a bit now. So recruit comes in. What's your 2-minute pitch for why they should come here and be a Viking?
Well, first of all, Valley is a place that as soon as you walk on campus, you feel welcomed. And I'm sure you can ask anybody that's came here, they've felt that. And I think one of the cool things about Valley is they know you by your first name within the first month or so. And it's a beautiful campus. I mean, you can't really go wrong with it. It has great buildings. It's an older school, but I mean, you can see yourself here academically and athletically, and they're gonna help you succeed. They don't want anyone to fail here, like I said, athletically or academically, and you have so much support through the school. I mean, you could go to any single person on this campus and they would help you. And so it's a very welcoming campus and that wants to see every single person on campus succeed, and I think anyone can benefit from that. So
I like that one. That's definitely, I mean, the theme's been the same, every answer I get from students on this is so they want you to they give you opportunities, set you up for success, and just again, it's just echoed every time I ask someone that. And I know probably, at least I'm sure you do a lot of recruit visits, they probably ask you to to tour some recruits around. I know I've been tasked with that a
Mhm.
few times, but yeah, that's kind of my same pitch is just like you're gonna have success here. It is a nice campus. I remember the first time I was on it. Like it's a small campus, especially coming in the fall, and it's still like the summer colors. The
Yeah.
grass is green. It's just like
Yeah.
it's so nice, and
It is.
the bridges, and it is a nice. It's a very pleasing view to the eyes.
It is.
So we talked a little bit about after college, and with your sports leadership degree, wanting to be an AD, wanting to be kind of a coach. I guess you kind of already answered the question, but what's that going to look like for you? Where are you going to start? Where do you want to be? How do you want to stay involved with sports? Just kind of walk. Obviously, you're probably not planned out till you're,
Yeah.
50. But what do you think it's going to kind of look like from your perspective?
Well, after I graduate, I'm going to have to go to grad school. At least that's the goal. As of now, the plan is to go to grad school through NDSU and also be a GA here at Valley. Hopefully that works out. I'm still kind of working through all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But doing that first for the next 2 years and then just kind of seeing where that takes me. Coaching, you kind of have to be willing to branch out, especially around here. There's not as many coaching opportunities. And so I think that's just my way to stay in with sports, just because obviously it's been in my life for now, 21 years or 18 years, I guess. So just finding coaching, athletic director, different, you have game day operations, that kind of stuff. And that kind of stuff sticks out to me just because then you're always around it and you're around different athletes. And I don't know, see where it takes me, I guess. If I have to move or stay in the area, either sounds great to me. So
yeah,
we'll just have to see.
Yeah, especially with sports, you have to expect the unexpected a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Even, professional athletes, you talk about them getting traded or free agency, but even behind the scenes, your smaller colleges or stuff like that, you don't realize how many moving parts there are.
Yep.
Our assistant, both our coaches, I guess, are from California, coming into the Midwest. Yep. Obviously, our head coach played at UMary. But yeah, there's so many moving parts and travel with sports, and it's definitely an industry where if you get into, don't get comfortable.
No,
because
not at all.
Because things can change.
And not right away.
No, that's right. It takes a while definitely to get established in that, but obviously if you love sports and you enjoy what you do, you're not gonna have a problem with that. So,
yeah.
But Ashlyn, I want to thank you for being on the podcast. It was a lot of fun, and you're actually our first athlete on the podcast, which I made it 6 episodes without bringing on an athlete. But yeah, no, I appreciate you being here, and I know originally when we started this podcast, I was like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna have to ask Ashlyn to be on it because she's got the all conference awards, all the stuff like that. So you definitely playing 2 sports too is quite interesting, and you don't see that a lot on campus, especially the 2 you play. You sometimes see a lot of track and field and other sport track.
Yep.
But it's a very interesting kind of dynamic. You play both, and yeah, so I want to thank you for being on the podcast, and any closing words to any of the listeners before we go?
No, thanks for having me, and I had fun. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, for Viking Voices, I'm Jaden Babiak, and we say so long.